If you like movies like John Wick, Bullet Train, and Nobody, with a dash of Quentin Tarantino, and you ask your mom if you can see a movie like that, and she says, "No, sweetie, we have that at home," that's what this movie is. So The Killer's Game revolves around a professional assassin with a moral code by the name of Joe Flood, who meets and falls in love with Maisie, a dancer. As things get more serious, he plans to retire until he gets a shocking diagnosis from his doctor. He then decides to put a hit out on himself after making Maisie his life insurance beneficiary. But let's just say things aren't as clear-cut as they seem. Hey everyone, I'm the guy with no name. Thanks for stopping by my channel. By the way, on the last video, I thanked you guys for helping me reach my goal of 200 subscribers, and mentioned that my next goal is 250, halfway to 500, and I just wanted to thank you guys again because I'm already at 225, so really appreciate all the support, and I'm very excited for where things will take me. But anyway, let's get back to the video. The Killer's Game, based on a novel of the same name by I'm gonna go with Bonansinga, I'm pretty sure I mispronounced that, was directed by J.J. Perry and stars Dave Bautista as Joe Flood, Sofia Boutella as Maisie, Pom Klementieff as Mariana, the assassin who facilitates the hit on Flood, Ben Kingsley as V, I think it's pronounced, I forget, Flood's colleague and close friend, and Terry Crews as Lovedoll, one of the hitmen trying to take down Flood and claim the bounty. As I hinted at, this movie is just not very well made, and it bums me out to say that because I had not heard of the novel and I did not hear this movie was being made, but once I saw the first trailer, it pretty much hooked me. So it did not meet my expectations. It's, like I mentioned earlier, it's a John Wick, Bullet Train wannabe. It has a lot of different elements that it introduces about how this world works, in particular the assassin underworld, and there's a lot of references to Flood's past, his exploits, his reputation, but all of that really just comes across as not as well thought out as the other movies I mentioned, and it does stink too because the overall plot is there. I feel like there's enough elements to make things interesting. Just reading the summary is like, oh, that's an interesting idea. And there are quite a few creative twists and turns along the way, but I think the bulk of the problem has to do with the execution. Dave Bautista is fine in the role, but I really gotta say, I don't think he's the leading man type. Sofia Boutella, Pom Klementieff, Ben Kingsley, really just about the whole cast does a fine job, but no one really stands out in the acting department. And the action's also, in certain aspects, it's really good, but in other aspects, it does get a little tedious. And, you know, Dave Bautista is a big guy. I'm sure he's pretty strong, but some of the stuff he does could only have been accomplished through superhuman strength, so it does get a bit too carried away. Also, this movie is very comedic, but unfortunately only about 20%, if that, of the jokes landed for me. So 80% of the time I was sitting there not smiling, cringing, wondering why they thought it was funny. But I will say on the flip side, about 20% of the jokes I was actually laughing out loud for the most part, so it could have been worse. I think really where it all fell apart for me was in the editing, directing, and cinematography. I just thought there were, it was very clumsily directed, and there were a lot of awkward interactions, drawn out scenes, weirdly shot scenes too. Like, there's one time in particular, Joe and Maisie are having a heartfelt discussion, but I couldn't even really focus on what was being said because the camera was just rapidly revolving around them, and I started to almost get dizzy. In the end, I didn't hate it, but I really can't rate The Killer's Game higher than 2.5 out of 5 stars. Aww. It's, you know, it's not very good, but also not really terrible, coincidentally making it very forgettable. So, but yeah, let me know in the comments if you saw The Killer's Game and if I was too harsh on it or not harsh enough. And thanks for watching this, liking and subscribing, and check out my review of Beetlejuice if you want to look for more of my content. This is Guy with No Name, signing off.